It's the final day before the All-Star break, and the fans who are rolling into Citizens Bank Park are hoping the Phillies can erase last night and pick up where they left off on Friday and finish up this first half by taking 2 of 3 from the Washington Nationals. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy. In just a little bit, we'll be joined by Mike Schmidt and Matt Stairs, and a little later on, Greg Murphy. We wrap up what baseball calls the first half of the season. The first half of 2014 wasn't so great for the Phils collectively. 10 games under 500, but they are playing better baseball over the last week, so they look to finish on a positive note. And we look to finish things up with the top moments from the first half of 2014. Play, and he's going to double up Mitch Moreland, and there are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Everybody's happy after that one. Diving catch by Dominic Brown, and the side is retired.
It's called an accent aigu. Accent aigu. And then that one upside down is something else.
In the air to left field. Going back on his yellows, back toward the wall. It is gone! Walk-off home run, Jimmy Rollins. Here he comes. Fastball hit in the air, left center field. That one's way back there. It is gone! Opposite field, game-winning home run for Ryan Howard. And it's time to celebrate. In the air to left field, that's going to do it. The Phillies are going to win the ball game here in the bottom of the 14th inning. A walk-off RBI single the opposite way by Reed Brignac. That one's hit deep to right field. This will be another walk-off. Reed Brignac, a 3-run walk-off home run here in the bottom of the 9th inning. They're waiting for him at home plate, and this one's going to feel good. A line drive toward right field. There it is. Jimmy Rollins is now the franchise leader in base hits with 2,235.
All-time hits leader, number 11, Jimmy Rollins.
In the air to right field. Way back there. Stanton's going back. It is all over. A 2-run 14th inning home run for Chase Utley. Walks this baby off. He's going to smile. That one smoked deep to center field, out toward our vantage point.
Come get it, Tom!
Yeah! Not good that he hit a home run, but I was able to catch it. Wasn't really that good of a throw. Oh, the top moments of the first half of the 2014 season. The Phillies hope there are even better moments in the second half. Today's starting pitchers, Kyle Kendrick on the mound for the Phils, Tanner Roark on the hill for the Nationals. We'll have lineups at first pitch when we return to Citizens Bank Park. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Citizens Bank. Introducing One Deposit Checking. Keeping things simple is helping you bank better. By Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Phillies. By Toyota. Where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. By Budweiser. Here's to Budweiser. Here's to baseball. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. And by Independence Blue Cross, the most preferred health plan in the region. Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Kendrick is warming up out on the mound, getting set to wrap up this series against the Washington Nationals. Let's take a look at the Nats starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off at center field, Denard Span. Anthony Rendon, the second baseman, bats second. Jason Worth hits third, followed by Adam LaRoche and Ryan Zimmerman. Bryce Harper's in left field. He'll hit sixth. In the bottom third of Desmond Lobatone and Tanner Roark. And they will face Phillies right-hander Kyle Kendrick. Kendrick comes in with a record of 4-8. An ERA of 4.46. He got the win his last time out because the Phillies gave him some run support. He has allowed 14 home runs so far this year and 115 innings of work.
Yeah, and he's been throwing the ball better of late. Still, that first inning is a tough one that usually gets him. But one thing about Kyle Kendrick is he's going to go out there and he's going to pitch to contact. And you see the Budweiser scuttering report, 88 to 92 mile an hour fastball, changeup, sinker, will throw a curveball. He's 5-9 with a 4.86 ERA versus Washington.
One start this year against the Nationals, 7 innings, 4 earned runs. He walked 5. And Denard Span will lead it off for the Nationals. First pitch of the day is in there for a strike. It's 0-1. Michael, how are you?
Hello, Tommy, Matt. Nice to be with you guys again, especially in this atmosphere of maybe we say winning atmosphere, even though we're coming off of an extra inning loss last night, a tough one. It just seems the atmosphere to be a little bit more up than it was the last time we were here a couple of weeks ago.
Winning is a whole lot better. Makes everything look a whole lot better. This guy was a pain in the neck last night. He walked a couple times, including the first batter of the game, and came around to score. But Kendrick is ahead. No balls and 2 strikes. Span has hit in 9 of his last 10 ball games. And he pulls that one through the hole on the right side of base hit. All right, so an 0-2 pitch and a base hit. It's time now for our Nissan keys to today's ball game.
Well, mine is very simple. That Kyle Kendrick needs to put a 0 up in the first inning just to give him a positive outlook for the rest of the game.
And for everybody else, too.
I would agree with that, and I also would like to see the Phillies win today, as we all would, but just for the reason that you go into the All-Star break, you still have that sense that we're a winning team. We're a different team now. You will have won 5 out of 6, I guess, going into the break, and everyone else around the league sees that as well. You know, the teams you're beating right now. They see it. They see you coming. And if you're like 7, 8 games out, it's doable in the second half.
Absolutely. And if you can keep the same kind of momentum and approach that you have these last few days.
And the last time we won 5 in a row on a road, remember, and then we lost one, and it kind of spiraled back into another sort of a downslide again. And if we can get this win today, go into the break, I think it's going to set a nice tone for starting up the second half.
Well, Anthony Rendon is the batter. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Rupp can't find the ball. It's almost as if he looked like he was crossed up on that pitch, or he just dropped it and couldn't find it. It could have been as simple as that.
Well, don't ask me. I was looking at the camera because we were on camera and I was doing my key to the game.
Tom, you're right. He was crossed up. It looked like he was calling something hard, and he ended up getting the curve ball, and then he couldn't find it in the umpire's leg.
Well, Jay Dunn is the official scorer today. I think he recognized it on the replay, and he scored it a wild pitch instead of a pass ball. So a runner in scoring position, 1 ball and 1 strike to Rendon. Check swing. They'll appeal. No swing. Says Mark Wagner, and it's 2-1.
Well, you got to like this Rendon, Matt and Tom. I tell you, watching him now for a couple of years, got big power for a second baseman, third baseman. A prototype, maybe 2-hole hitter. Now he can hit the ball the other way. We'll see if he can advance span to third.
And he's not a big guy either. That's the thing that jumps out at you with this power as he pulls that one through the hole on the left side of base hit. Span will go to third, so first and third with nobody out.
Funny thing about baseball's placement. I mean, he gets a base hit. Now they're first and third, nobody out. But his job was to try to hit the ball to right field, Matt. If he hooks that a little bit more, it's to the third baseman. And if he hooks it a little less, it's to Jimmy, and it's not a good at bat. You got some work to do for your key to the game here, bro.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and that's we've looked at the numbers on Kendrick in the first inning, and he's got a 10.5 ERA, and going into this game before those 2 hits, opponents were hitting .373 versus him in the first inning. Now you just might as well add a 2-for-2 on there as well.
They used to say that Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver, get them early. Get them early because they'd go out the first inning, kind of feel their way through the first inning, and they weren't really loose. But Kyle's a different kind of pitcher. He pitches to contact, and his game's not going to change that much. I don't think he needs to get loose. He's going to be pretty much the same pitcher throughout the game.
That one's hit out toward left field. Sizemore's going back, and it is gone. This is amazing. A 3-run home run allowed by Kendrick, and the Nationals are on top 3-0. 24 earned runs allowed in the first inning of ball games this year by Kyle Kendrick.
Matty, that was an off-speed pitch, kind of hanging right out over the plate.
Well, Jason's been swinging the bat well. He hit the home run yesterday on a fastball away, drove it to right field, and he gets a curveball right here that stays in the middle of the plate. Goes down and gets it and drives it to left field for a home run.
Sort of this little Chase Utley kind of stroke there, kind of what you call a knockdown stroke if it were golf. Just kind of throws that bat head down through the ball. I can't tell you how much of an easier at bat it is, though, with that man on third base and nobody out or 1 out. You're just trying to make contact, and things like that happen.
Well, the bases are empty. It's 3-0. Nationals on top. By the way, you saw that note where it said 26 first inning runs. We've been talking about 24 for Kendrick. That's 26 overall. 24 earned by Kyle Kendrick. We were kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt on the other 2. There's a breaking ball in there. It's 0-1. Adam LaRoche, the batter. LaRoche is 6 for 35 lifetime against Kendrick. This is going to go down as one of those things that you just can't explain. The amount of runs he's given up this year in the first inning, and the amount of home runs that he's allowed in the first inning. That's 7 first inning home runs he's allowed this year. Change up outside, 2-1.
Speaking of Jason Worth being hot, go back to last night's ball game. One of the great games I've ever watched on TV without a lot of hitting. Great stuff. Strasburg and Cole both. I thought it was a fantastic game. I thought he had Jason Worth struck out when he hit the 2-run home run.
I thought he did too.
Fastball
You guys see it? The fastball inside was right there. He goes to show you when you're hot. That's called a ball.
You get those calls.
Home run.
Well, Andy Fletcher, who's upping third today, was behind the plate last night. There was some barking going on from both sides.
No question. No, smallest strike zone I've ever seen. In a well-pitched game. I mean, those guys were pitching to a tiny strike zone.
Ground ball out to shallow right, and LaRoche is retired, one away. So folks aren't even settled into their chairs yet, and the Phillies are down 3-0. Now that'll bring Ryan Zimmerman to the plate. There is Cole, who wound up getting a no decision in last night's ball game because the Phillies came back to tie it. A.J. Burnett next to him. He pitched very well in game 1 of this series. Ryan Zimmerman 2 for 7 so far in the series with a double and 2 RBIs. Takes a fastball a little high. That's 1-0.
Matt and I will probably get into a hitting discussion somewhere during this game. In fact, we've already had one, in the dressing room before the game. We're watching Ryan Zimmerman hit how we talked about hitters with their back elbow high, and where they hold the bat as the pitcher's winding up. But if you watch Ryan Zimmerman, Matt, he starts there, but he makes a big correction back to a pretty standard stance. Julio Franco.
Oh, his was really high. There's a line drive to left, and Sizemore runs it down.
The one thing about Julio Franco, too, is his bat was about, what, 46 ounces?
Very heavy, very big. I don't know how he did it. Yeah, they're squaring up some Kendrick pitches here in the first inning.
It's remarkable, though, to think about some of his outings, Kendrick that is, where he's allowed all these runs in the first inning. Then he figures something out in the second, third, fourth innings and keeps the Phillies within reach, but they're in a hole. They're within reach, but they're in a hole.
Here he is.
Bryce Harper's now the batter. Harper hitting 139 since his return from the disabled list.
Matt, do you ever wear your pants and socks like that?
One time. I struck out and I put them right back down again. Doesn't look good when you're 5'9" and a little chubby.
I'm trying to figure what era that look comes from. I'm sure it doesn't come from my era.
Almost looks like he's got high tops on with him too, or mid-level spikes. Change up, and it's 0-2. Sannies and stirrups there. Harper homered in game 1 of this series. Didn't start yesterday. Scott Hairston started because of his numbers against Hamels. And a call, strike 3, a 2-seamer that came back. Well, the back end of this inning certainly was better than the front end. The front end was topped off by Jason Wirtz's 3-run home run. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Brought to you by Xfinity. your home for the most live sports. Leading it off in left field, Grady Sizemore. Jimmy Rollins bats second. Chase Utley will hit third, followed by Ryan Howard and Marlon Byrd. Cody Ashley's at third base. He'll bat sixth. In the bottom third of Rupp, Revere, and Kyle Kendrick. And they'll face right-hander Tanner Roark. Roark, a 27-year-old from Champaign, Illinois, making his 18th start of the year. He hasn't started since the 4th of July because of some rainouts. 79 strikeouts and 106 and 2/3 innings so far for Roark.
Yeah, one thing about Tanner Roark is that he's been up in the zone lately. He throws with his Budweiser scouting report 89 to 93. He's been averaging about 91 miles an hour, but he's not getting that sink and he's leaving the ball up. And that's the reason why his last 2 starts, he's 0-2 with a 5.54 ERA. But if he relies on getting that sinker down the zone, he gets a lot of ground balls. But when he doesn't get it sinking, it's hit out of the ballpark, and guys are taking very good swings at it.
Well, Grady Sizemore will lead it off. Sizemore is 2 for 8 so far in his first couple games with the Phils. Playing left field today. Dominic Brown is still a little under the weather, is again available to pinch hit like last night. First pitch is over. It's 0-1. What do you think of this pickup, Mike?
I love it. A couple games I've watched on TV where he's led off. I mean, he's a strong presence in the batter's box. He brings with him a pretty strong baseball resume for sure. Physically, he looks good. I mean, he's running good. He's hit a couple of balls hard. I think the team, all due respect to Ben or Tony Gwynn Jr., who might lead off, it's I think he just makes the lineup look, I don't want to say tougher. It just makes the lineup look stronger to me.
I think his attack of fastball so far in just the 2 ball games, it looks like he's got the bat speed. Whether he's going to be as good as he was before, who knows, but he definitely has the bat speed. No balls and 2 strikes to Grady Sizemore. Outside, 1-2. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Tony Knoll of Reading. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game, then Tony will win $100.
And back to that point about Sizemore, and I respect Ben Revere a great deal as a leadoff hitter. 290 batting average, but Ben is basically his on base percentage is kind of like his batting average, and a couple points higher. He puts the ball in play, doesn't walk much. Sizemore looks to me like a guy that can drive the ball in the gap, hit you a few home runs, and walk. Work the count and will value the walk. So it just looks like he brings more to the leadoff position.
Down the left field line. That one's slicing toward the seats. Harper will give it a look, and it's out of play. So it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Sizemore, of course, began the year with the Red Sox, and during his time with the Red Sox had 2 home runs and 15 runs batted in. Another one back, and it remains 1-2.
He's the kind of guy that shows up on another team to play against you, and you're going to go, geez, how'd they get him? Right?
I think this
guy's a great player.
I think the first 10 days of the season, that's what everybody said to the Red Sox. He was blasting his way through the American League those first 10 days. A high pop-up right side. LaRoche is going to back up Rendon, and Rendon will make the call and the catch. There's 1 away. During the 2014 season, Turkey Hill, the official ice cream of the Phillies, will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream. So to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball. Here's Jimmy Rollins. Rollins 3 for 9 so far in this series. He's hit in 4 consecutive games. His average at 246. 11 home runs, 39 runs batted in. A little low, 1 ball and no strikes. How close did he come last night to hitting that home run and giving the Phillies the lead?
I was talking to him earlier, and He said it's just a hair. Even if he misses it just a little less, he's going to drive that off the wall. But I said to him, I said it was a very good pass, of the swing to the ball. Ball's coming off his bat different the last few games, and I think it has a lot to do with he's starting to use his top hand.
Well, that one he gets under. Shallow center field. Span, the center fielder, comes running out. Must be a tough sky today because Span was coming running in, and Rendon looked like he was having a tough time seeing it going back. Now there are 2 outs.
I agree with Matt 100%. Hit the high fastball for the home run the other night. You can't do that without some top hand.
And that was the same pitch right there. Was when you get in bad habits and you use that lower half to swing, you forget to use that top hand. And I think that happened again right there. He kind of got lazy with the top hand, and that's why he hit a weak fly ball.
Well, here's Chase Utley. Utley's hit in 6 straight ball games. Overall hitting .295. He kind of had a mix-up defensively in last night's ball game at second base. He and Ryan Howard also offensively came up a couple times with a chance to give the Phils a run from against Strasburg, and couldn't come through. 1 ball and 1 strike. There's Howard, who's on deck. Out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, prior to the game, Chase Utley was honored and representing the Philadelphia Phillies in this year's All-Star game. He'll be making the start for the Phils. Presented with his All-Star jersey.
It's a nice touch. Do they do that regularly?
You know, they started doing it a few years ago as that ball's grounded out to second. Sort of a send-off for the players as they get ready to go to the All-Star game. It's just that Chase is the only representative player-wise this year. We'll go to the second. Nationals up 3-0. Major League Baseball All-Star Games. The best of the National League take on the American League's elite. Don't miss the action Tuesday on Fox. Well, we take a look at our Mazda leaders, and Schmitty with 9 starts representing the National League. Chase Utley 6 and Robin Roberts 5.
Schmitty, out of those 9 All-Star games,
Here we go. Here we go.
No. Is there one that stands out the most that you enjoyed?
Yeah, the one where I got a couple hits. Absolutely. I think it was Hubert H. Humphrey Dome.
Oh, yeah, Minnesota.
In Minnesota. Started the game there. I think it was the first game I started. Davey Johnson was the manager, so it must have been after the '86 Mets. Batted me cleanup in the All-Star game, which I thought was quite an honor, against Nolan Ryan.
Would have been better off batting eighth. He might have been out of the game by then.
Actually, hit a ground ball line drive by the second baseman and went into the gap for a triple off of Nolan Ryan. And that was a game that I think the right fielder threw out. Dave Parker threw out somebody at home plate, Gary Carter, to end the game or something like that. I don't know.
That was a tremendous throw. I remember seeing highlights of that throw.
Were you guys? How old are you? Were you around then?
I was around. I was. Let's see. I was 19.
Okay.
And man, did I have good hair, Mike.
In 1981, I actually hit a home run to win the game. So I had a couple of fun All-Star games. Performance-wise, they were all fun. I wanted to be a part of all of them.
There's a spinner out to first. Kendrick covers 3-1 on the putout. And that'll bring Jose Lobaton to the plate.
That's a tough play now. The squibbers. That ball's going all over the plate. It's the kind you want to lay down in front of because you get seriously booed if you miss that one.
He had that happen the other day. Was it Friday night where he roamed all the way off the first base line and it went off his glove and Utley tried to pick it up. One man down. Jose Lobaton is standing in. He hasn't played in this series. Wilson Ramos played the first two games. And Lobaton fouls it away. It's 0-1. Of course, when you played in the All-Star games, it was 3 days off. Now it's the extra day for most of the players. They get the fourth day, although Phillies are traveling the night of that fourth day.
I vividly remember the years I didn't make the All-Star team.
Because of the trips you made, or just
no,
how mad
more,
you were?
Yeah, pretty much more than those were the years that I stunk it up in the first half. 75, 78, 85.
That's it, right?
No, there was like 4 of them.
2 outs. Tanner Roark's coming up. Let's check in with Murph. Murph?
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Well, Mike, you started off the broadcast by talking about how important it would be to finish the first half of the season heading into the All-Star break on a winning note against the team that leads your division, the NL East. And it's a perfect time to take a look at the numbers from a year ago and where they compare to today. And there you see in 2013, they were even 500. The Phils were headed into the All-Star break, 10 games under 500 at this point. And if you look down at the numbers, you know, it paints a picture that the Phils have a lot of work to do. Now, you remember last year they came out of the All-Star break and went on a road trip, went 1-9 in that road trip. Phils have already had, guys, a road trip like that, so I guess they're hoping that that's in their past. They can come back out of the All-Star break and maybe go on a run, starting with their series in Atlanta. But certainly the numbers need to improve in the second half if this team is going to improve.
It's just remarkable. They're averaging the same amount of runs. Their ERA is better this year than last year, and yet they're 10 games under 500.
All has to do with timely hitting, and you see the power numbers with the home runs, and the doubles are probably down as well.
Take on the San Francisco Giants. It's their first series after the All-Star break at home. It's a 4-game set. It wraps up on Thursday the 24th with a Citizens Bank Business Person Special. Tickets are available anytime by going to Phillies.com. 3-0 Nationals on top. We'll go to the bottom of the second on a very warm afternoon. Temperatures are in the 90s here today. It'll be Ryan Howard, Marlon Byrd, Cody Asche against right-hander Tanner Roark, who retired the Phils in order in the bottom of the first. Ryan Howard, Marlon Byrd, Cody Asche, and then Cameron Rupp after that. Howard is 0 for his last 9. He has struck out 5 times in this series. And gosh, it seems like he struck out 5 times with somebody in scoring position each time in this series.
Are you trying to spurn some conversation?
I'm just wondering what the heck is going on.
A work in progress with the newsstands.
Inside 1-0.
It seems that I can't come to do one of these Sunday games without there being much discussion about Ryan Howard's batting stroke at some point throughout the morning.
Well, they rely so heavily on him because they haven't moved him from the cleanup spot. If not for a couple of ball games against lefties and one game against a right-hander. Other than that, he has basically been the cleanup hitter. Out towards center field. Playable for Span, who stomps back a few steps, 1 away. And that'll bring Marlon Byrd to the plate. Well, now Marlon's finishing up this first half of the year, and he's finishing up a pretty good first half. He is striking out, but he's hitting .265 with 18 home runs and 54 runs batted in. 4 hits in this series and a couple of runs scored.
Quite impressed with Marlon Byrd. I mean, you know, you can't have everything. If we had fewer strikeouts, he'd have had a better first half. But
the ball hit him right on Matt Stairs' pad. So a base runner with 1 man down.
Marlon definitely doesn't budge at home plate. You know, my first thought about that pitch right there was that I don't know that they liked him hanging in so tough against Strasburg's curveball all night last night. This guy needs to be loosened up at home plate a little bit. That's what goes through my brain. And I wouldn't like that if I were the Phillies. Right?
I agree. It happened last night. Strasburg threw one up and in on Cody Asche.
Oh, I watched. Well, you guys got monitors. I was watching on TV, and that just sort of went unnoticed.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys probably, Matt, you probably noticed it, but for me, and I'll tell you something right now. When Strasburg hit the next time with Cole Hamels out there, and Cole's lefty on the righty, he was taking the first 2 pitches, and Strasburg was standing there like he thought he might get a neck ball. Remember that? Yep. They were thinking about it. That pitch to Asche was way up. That was one of the most flagrant up and in pitches I've seen in a long time. They were a lot more prevalent back in the day, but in today's game.
Yeah, and he did not have a good night last night, Asche. He struck out 4 times. So it wasn't as if he was seeing Strasburg all that well either.
And you know what? If I were one of the Phillies right now, it wouldn't take much to fire me up. You know what I'm saying? Something like that.
Matt said that last
drilling
week,
my 5-hole hitter on the first pitch.
There's Cameron Rupp. He takes high, 1-0.
I wasn't trying to hit him. I was just trying to come, you know, in off the play. Blah blah blah. We've heard that millions of times.
Always try to sell it as if there was nothing. There was no intent. Out of play, 1 ball and 1 strike. Rupp's getting a lot of time back behind home plate. He started every game of this series.
I'm impressed with Rupp, Cameron Rupp. watching on TV again last night. A couple nights been great plate presence for me. You know, he's been getting a few hits, but he'll get a walk. He worked. He had some tough at bats last night against Strasburg.
I'm impressed with the cannon he has to throw to second base.
Yeah, I was wondering if I should bring that up. I mean, I saw one throw to second base. And was it what I actually saw?
Ian Desmond was stealing.
Woo!
That's the one thing that stood out last year to me was how good defensively he was with his throws. And that's kind of carried over to this year. People ask, well, will he hit big league pitching consistently? I don't know. I mean, he was hitting under 200 in the minor leagues this year. And he's down on strikes here to wrap up the second inning. So first strikeout for Roark. Phillies get a base runner, but they still do not have a hit. We played 2. We'll go to the third. Top of the orders coming up for the Nationals. Question. Log on to Phillies.com. Go to the fan section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. The question is, who were the 5 Phillies All-Stars in the 76 game in Philadelphia? Answer will be revealed in just a little bit. Were you one of them?
That's easy. No, really. That's an easy question.
We wanted to end the first half on a very positive note. On a positive and easy note.
I may not even have to write it down.
Well, then that's impressive. Here's to Budweiser. Here's to baseball.
Well, we need something positive because my key is no longer a part of the game.
No. Mine's still alive. Yours is gone.
I think it's good, though, that you stepped out on the ledge, though, on that one.
Yeah, I stepped on the ledge, but the ledge was about 2 inches long.
Well, here is Span. Span singled his first time up after falling behind no balls and 2 strikes. I do believe that Denard Span is racing Troy Tulowitzki for the longest time it takes to get into the batter's box. Inside 1-0.
Yeah, he's a good candidate.
Thing is, he keeps 1 foot in too. That's low and in. 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, but I think it all leads back to when Span tried to get in the batter's box with Cliff Lee that one time here. Remember, he got in the batter's box. He never used to ask for time with his hand. Ever since that point, slow motion.
See, if they hold through for next year, he's okay because he's keeping 1 foot in and 1 foot out. That's the, by rule, that's apparently what they're going to try to enforce next year. Seems to be a little quicker today. Pops it up, foul territory. Ashley will give it a look, and it's out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. got the other 5? Two pitch. Check swing, 3-2. See, it wasn't as easy as you thought it was.
You're right. I'm over here working the names and I have too many.
You have too many? Well, do you have yourself written down there?
No. But
is it 1 + 4 or 1 + 5?
No, it's just 5.
5 total? You get the whole roster written down there.
It was coming off a good year. 3-2 pitch. And it's fouled down the left field line, and it remains 3-2. It'll be Span, Rendon, and Jason Worth, the same combination that scored the 3 runs in the first inning. Out towards shortstop on 1 hop. Rollins is able to flag it down. Span runs well in time. Give that guy credit. He was moving up that first base line.
Yes, he was, but Jimmy has that sense for the game in baseball sense, you know. All you got to do is nip him. Larry Bowa was the greatest at that. Throw it. You know, he just dropped that thing in there right ahead of that runner.
He got him by a half step. There's Bo.
Who shaved, by the way.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. He was letting it go a little bit as they were winning.
He was looking a little crusty on TV the last couple nights, and I saw him in the cage today, and I said, "Are you growing a beard, Bo? And you got a little stubble going there, you know? I've never seen that on you." And he was in the on TV, the close-up of him. He said, "Well, we had a winning streak going, and I didn't want to shave."
Did you see him at all in Milwaukee? Did you see any of the shots we had of him in Milwaukee? He couldn't sit still. Here he's sitting down, but he was moving all over the place in Milwaukee in the dugout.
Oh, there was no seats?
Well, there were, but he was going to all these different ones trying to get him. He just couldn't.
Well, he is a little fidgety, if you know what I mean.
2-0 pitch to Rendon, a foul ball. It's 2-1.
Remember our little discussion a couple minutes ago about that up and in pitch on Marlon Byrd? I guarantee you there's a guy in the dugout down there named Boa that was thinking the same thing. In fact, I can hear the words coming out of his mouth right now, or, you know, that he said when that happened. And I can't repeat them on the air.
Curveball hit foul. 2-2 to Rendon.
I don't know. I actually feel like that was a potentially great moment. Could have been in this game and for the team. You know, a lot of times you're looking for something to rally around, and you know, Kyle's got these guys that are all taking pretty aggressive swings against him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I don't know. That's just where my mind goes when something like that happens. Well, it'd be different if you see they're the team that's winning the division. We're the team that's, you know, semi-struggling this year. No one's going to pull some stuff like that on us.
But to do it to them,
yeah. So like stepping on you when you're down, you know.
Well, Matt, you said something about that last week. You had talked something about that, you know, about just trying to do something to fire the team up in some way, shape, or form.
Whatever it takes.
Jason Worth takes a strike. It's 0-1. Worth homered his last time up.
Guess what? These hitters are thinking about it too. These Washington hitters. Trust me, they are.
Well, I wondered on that first pitch to Span that was tight. It wasn't, you know, into his ribs or anything like that, but it was tight. I wondered if he had thought about it when he was up there. Here's Jason Worth from the first inning. Got that hook, and he just golfed it out.
No curveball, stayed through it, and drove it to left field for 3 runs in the first inning.
Just off the outside corner, it's 2-1. Well, here's Worth's Geico quote of the day, talking about the boos here at Citizens Bank Park. I barely even hear it. I notice it, but it's way back in the background. It doesn't really have any bearing on my game. I will say the first time I ever got a really good worthless chant going was my sophomore year in high school in basketball. I poured in 35 that night, so I'm always up for a chant like that. You think he really scored 35 as a sophomore basketball player?
Probably.
He is a very athletic guy. Three balls and 2 strikes to Worth. Jason now with 6 home runs in his last 40 plate appearances. Fly ball, shallow right center. Backing up on it is Utley. Here comes Bird charging hard. And the side is retired. So 9 in a row retired by Kendrick since the 3-run home run. But the Phillies still trail it by 3 as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Under Jeff Now for an appointment. By the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. And by the Quality Plus Sports Stores. Go further. Phillies trail at 3-0. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. Let's take a look at today's current weather conditions. Brought to you by Oliver Heating and Cooling. Visit oliverheatcool.com. All right, I said in the 90s before, but 88 degrees and partly cloudy.
100% humidity.
100% humidity. Ben Revere will lead it off. Revere 2 for 4 in the series. His base hit last night tied the ball game at 3. Good battle and some sore feet. 2 balls and no strikes.
I'll tell you what. Did I see that right?
What's that?
Can we see a replay on that?
Just that the ball zipped right on by him, or that
went right through the umpire's leg.
Oh, did it? I didn't see that part.
Did I see that right?
You did. Set up away and fastball inside.
All right, here we go. Right between the 5-hole.
It did touch the glove at least.
If that had hit him, then there would have been a conversation between him and Lobaton, the catcher. That one's pulled out toward right center field. A base hit for Revere. And then takes a big turn around first and holds up there. First hit of the day for the Phils. Ben's hitting over 330 here in the month of July. And now Kendrick, who hasn't bunted all that well this year, will give a sacrifice attempt here, I would think. does get the sacrifice down. So the Phillies have runner at scoring position. 3-4 on the putout. And there's one out. Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks will follow the San Francisco Giants here at Citizens Bank Park on Friday, July 25th at 7:05. On Sunday, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 98 Cole Hamels T-shirt. Free to fan 14 and under. You can get tickets for all 3 games of that series by going to Phillies.com. Grady Sizemore popped out his first time up. It was an 8-pitch at bat. Curveball that drops in. It's 0-1.
Well, we don't know about Sizemore if bunting is in his repertoire as a leadoff hitter, but he's got Ryan Zimmerman playing back, pretty much giving him a base hit on his drop bunt down the third baseline.
He has bunted in the past, and I think that it was such a help for him because he was a guy that hit for a lot of power, 53 doubles one year, and he laid bunts down, and because guys would just give it to him.
53 doubles one year, and that same year I think it was 28 home runs. Up and in, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Sizemore.
I mean, there's a 2-strike count right now. You can't bunt now, but I mean, it would have been an ideal time to take it, you know, to take a bunt base hit here, first and third, 1 out.
A line drive out toward left field, and Harper makes the sliding grab. Could sense that ball was going to hang up there, and now there are 2 outs for Jimmy Rollins.
Yeah, that's one of the tough things about this ballpark. It's a great hitter's park. It's hard to hit singles. Over, you know, singles over the infield.
Yeah.
You almost get the sense that he probably thought he had one dropping in there, right? And the left fielder's on it.
Rollins now the batter with a runner at second. Rollins hitting .245, 11 home runs, 39 runs batted in. He flied out to center his first time up. Curveball, and it's outside.
Now I would agree. Watching the Phillies for the last through this little winning streak, I mean, I saw. It just seems like Jimmy is more enthusiastic at the plate. You know what I mean? He just. He's attacking. He's. I don't know. It's hard to put into words. I just to see a more aggressive, enthusiastic hitter. Is that the best way I can put it?
It seems like when he's taking that swing, he's attacking the zone with a powerful swing instead of just trying to make contact.
Low, 2-1. Well, I would think part of it too. They had that meeting in Milwaukee. You guys were both players. You know that sometimes those meetings between players, and I think there were 2 coaches there, they are helpful from time to time. But I would think also after that series against Pittsburgh, a little bit of pride has to kick in about how poorly they've been playing. It's a fly ball out to shallow center. Span comes running in. The side is retired. Phillies get their first hit. They leave one in scoring position. They struggled last night with runners in scoring position, and today they're 0 for 2. And they trail at 3-0 as we go to the 4th. Specials, huge inventory, and tons of free parking make WB Mason's What a Bargain Furniture Superstore a 5-tool player that will bust any budget. Drive down or visit whatabargain.com today. We go to the 4th inning. Everybody's in their rightful spot.
That is absolutely amazing.
What's that?
Do the fans know that you can read a spot like that at the same time you are sending a text?
I was sending an email. I was forwarding an email.
That is absolutely amazing.
Well, all I did was press the forward part, and I typed in the person's first 2 names, and then his name came up, so it was a little
I've never seen a man can read 2 things at once.
Multitasking, Mike, multitasking. Here's Adam LaRoche. He grounded out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Phillies have put a little shift on for LaRoche. Swing and a miss, 0 and 1. Did you ever face his dad as a pitcher? Dad was in the American League a lot. Dave LaRoche?
No.
He was probably in the American League most of his career, I guess, so you probably wouldn't have faced him. His dad used to throw that lob. Inside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
You throw what? The lob?
The lob.
The
it was an ephus pitch, yeah. But because his name was LaRoche, they called it the lob.
The lob.
Didn't Bill Lee have one of those?
I think he did, yeah.
Spaceman.
2 balls and 1 strike to LaRoche.
I faced Bill Lee when I was 16 years old. He was pitching in senior baseball up in Moncton, playing for the Moncton Mets back in the day. Him and Fergie Jenkins came in for a charity game.
Did Fergie throw?
Yep, they both did.
There's Ashe out in shallow left. He makes the catch. Yeah, there's 1 out here in the 4th. I remember reading the story about Lee still playing. Like he was playing senior baseball. Like he just kept on playing even after his playing career was over.
Yeah, we went to the Nationals out in I want to say Red Deer, Alberta, or Saskatchewan somewhere. I forget where it was. He lost the final game. Gave up a blue pit over a drawn infield. He didn't know that they were drawn in, so he would have pitched different. He got so angry, did not get on the plane from Saskatchewan, walked home. Walked home from Saskatchewan to the Atlantic provinces, which is a couple thousand miles.
Somebody had to pick him up eventually.
Rumor has it took over 3, almost a month to walk home.
0-2 to Ryan Zimmerman. Toyota Major League scoreboard. The Mets and the Marlins. Mets lead at 3-1. Curtis Granderson double and an RBI. See, Mike, isn't it good that you didn't play any senior baseball when your career was over with?
Check on that story, will you? Somebody Google that story. I don't know if we need to buy into that when they're.
Well, he was goofy.
Well, that's
no doubt about
Spaceman.
that.
And they do things differently in Matt's neck of the woods, Mike, than we do here in the States. No balls and 2 strikes to Zimmerman. He lined out to left his first time up. Little dribbler in front of the plate. That hit Zimmerman. He's out. He was out of the batter's box when it hit him. So the putout goes to the catcher. There are 2 outs.
You don't see that?
Comcast Sportsnet would like to invite you to the We Live Philly Sports Festival at the Please Touch Museum on Saturday, July 19th from 9 a.m. until noon. Stick around for the Philly Sports Parade at noon. And all fans 14 and under receive that backpack. Once they come through the doors, Please Touch Museum is a great place here in the city of Philadelphia. Folks like Mark Zumoff, Danny Pamels, Leslie Goodell, Ricky Bottalico, they'll be part of that parade. Here's Bryce Harper, who's 0 for 1. Outside, 1 ball and no strikes.
I visited with Matt Williams for about 45 minutes earlier this morning, old fellow third baseman. Nice chat with him. We were talking about some of his players, and Bryce Harper came up. in the conversation, and we got to talking about violent swings and how young hitters today swing way too violently. They have a couple on this team that do. Their shortstop, for sure.
Desmond,
fantastic hitter, no question, an athlete, one of the best in the league. So violent through the ball. Matt, I think you know what I mean. You were a bit violent yourself through the ball, but I mean, these guys miss so many fastballs because they swing so hard. By the way, didn't notice the change in uniform?
Oh, yeah, he did. He dropped his pants.
Those are different pants. They got to be different pants.
Well, he struck out his last time up. He wore them out in the field because he's got the grass stains on him. You think those are different ones?
Well, I thought the other, maybe he just had them bloused up real high.
Yeah.
I guess he did. Baseball players will try anything.
Strike out looking, you're going to make a change. Ashley hasn't changed his yet. He's been wearing his like that the entire day. Harper's one strike.
Harper's never really been the same player since Cole Hamels hit him in the butt.
And said after the game that he hit him in the butt. He didn't hide it at all.
Welcome to the big leagues.
All right, here we go. Are they the same pants or are they different? I don't know.
We'll get that information. Something tells me they came down right after he walked back to the dugout after the first at bat.
It's the first of 3 strikeouts for Kendrick today. First of 4 strikeouts for Kendrick today. There's that violent swing that you guys were talking about. Side is retired, and oh yeah, Kendrick's retired 12 straight since the home run. Visit your local Delaware Valley Honda dealer. Shop Honda.com. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Bottom of the 4th, it's 3-0 Nationals on top. Fans, the next time you're looking to pick up great seats to the game, head to StubHub, where you can earn 2% back in fan rewards on every purchase, including Phillies tickets. StubHub, your ticket to upgrades and more. Jay Sutley will lead it off. It'll be Utley, Howard, and Marlon Byrd. Utley grounded out his first time up. Phillies haven't managed a whole lot against Roark. They just have 1 hit today. Last 2 starts, each of the last 2 starts, Roark has allowed 4 earned runs. So 8 earned runs in his last 19 innings coming into today.
Both against the Cubs.
Both against the Cubs, yeah. Matt Williams say whether he's enjoying managing?
Yes. Enjoys it. He just has that. It's a presence about him that he's a baseball man. He just he's sort of like born to manage baseball.
Well, if anybody's going to get a job as manager, I mean, and everybody felt that he was ready. It's a pretty good team to take over with the amount of talent that they have.
Yeah, we talked about it. They got a ton of great athletes on this team.
Well, here's Ryan Howard. He flied out to center his first time up. You guys want to talk about the elbow here? What you guys were discussing in our dressing room before we came on the air today was if we had a camera in there, it would have made a great segment.
Matt's going to anchor that conversation. I'm just going to chime in every now and then when he allows me to.
Are you going to be the studio audience?
Well, honestly, with Ryan, with his stance in the past, with the low hands, to me, I think the most important thing is his back elbow. Now it's at a 90-degree angle, but when he gets in trouble, I think what he does is he gets that elbow up too high, so it's almost pointing straight towards the clouds. And what I mean by pointing it up too high, then all of a sudden, in order for him to get through the swing, it's going to be a loop swing. And I don't know. That's just how I look at it. If my shoulder's up too high, I'm going to have a real hard time going to the ball on a proper swing. As Mike Schmidt just
I think we could end up on the air here in a minute. Matt has the bat in his hand.
Well,
yes, he does.
I mean, okay, he's fine here. And when you have a stance here, it's easy to go from here to hit the ball. But he gets his elbow up high. So look at my bat angle all of a sudden.
Right.
It's impossible for me to go straight to the ball. And he needs to get that back elbow back down to a 90-degree angle a little bit more so he can go this way to the ball. As you know, I'm not taking a swing because I don't hit Smitty. But when you're this way, all of a sudden, it's a loop. And everything backs. And that's why he swings under the ball. And that's why he's usually late, because his swing gets too long.
Fouls that one off his foot.
Now, when he has, and I had to talk to him today, when you have low hands, and I use my hands low a lot towards the end of my career, think about just passing the bat back to the umpire. So say, here you go. So that's my motion I want to take. I pass the bat back to the umpire. Now my hands are in a good spot. My elbows don't get up too high. And he just needs to get in an area where he feels comfortable.
Pulls that one to first. LaRoche will make the play again. Yeah, there are 2 outs.
So this right here, this is a good power angle right here with this, all the way. I still think that the shoulder should be a little closer to his chin, because what happens when his shoulder gets away from his chin, his body rotates and you see the numbers too much. If he can keep his elbow right there, now see how, freeze it right there, see how high his elbow is? Yep. Look at the bat angle. The only way he can get is the swing has to go this way. He doesn't have a direct pass to the ball.
My turn?
I was kind of hoping you'd jump in earlier.
Now for the rebuttal on the other side.
Well, the question I would ask is, how did he do it early on in his career, where he was hitting, around 50 home runs and driving in, 1 year 148 runs or something like that? I don't see that much of a difference. There must be a mechanical difference, or the production would be better now, whether it's a result of injuries, lower half of the body not being as strong, whether it's the shift defensively against him that takes a lot of hits away from him, and that can frustrate you. Whether it's over anxious, lack of bat speed. I mean, there's a lot of things that the league adjusting to you as a hitter. There's a lot of reasons. I would maybe cite right now for Ryan Howard, the problem is mental more than physical. Being down there today in the cage, chatting with a few people about it, it's Ryan listens to everybody. He listens to Matt. He listens to Mike Schmidt. He listens to Jimmy Rollins. He listens to Marlon Byrd. He's getting a lot of input from a lot of people, because he's a nice young man and he doesn't push anybody away. And there you are. There's Well, the elbow went up, and now it's coming down.
The elbow went up and went down, but now his elbow goes up and it stays up, and he's making the swing from when his elbow was up. You know, I don't care where your hands start, and I said the other day, it doesn't matter where your hands start, as long as you get back into an area where you can get the barrel of the bat to the ball on a direct line. And with that swing we just saw from years past, and Mike pointed out, his elbow does go up, but then it starts coming back down.
Yeah, that was 06, by the way. That was the 2006.
So I think there's a few things that, and you made a great point, a lot of guys are chirping and saying this is what you should do, or, you know, I asked him, I said, what are you going to do over the break? He goes, well, I'm going to enjoy the break. I said, is it going to be a mental break or a physical break? He goes, both.
Yeah. Well, he takes seriously, you know, his responsibility. He does in the middle of this lineup. I remember when after he tore his Achilles in the playoffs, how upset he was after the game because he felt like he let everybody down.
Well, let's also make one other point here. Ryan Howard is, you know, on track for 30 and 110, even with his .225 batting average. You know, unfortunately, you'd like to see a higher batting average, more on base, moving runners more with productive outs. We're not getting that one, but we are getting the power statistics. He's amongst the league leaders, so it's not a total loss for Ryan Howard. So that could provide some positive.
Well, this was a 9-pitch at bat for Marlon Byrd. It results in a strikeout. We finished up 4 innings. We'll go to the 5th in a 3-0 game. All right, here's the question one more time, boys. Who were the 5 Philly All-Stars in the 1976 game in Philadelphia?
That's easy.
Have you narrowed down
I must
the 8
admit,
names
I had 7 guys written down here that I thought were All-Stars, but I crossed a couple of them out. And I'm going to go with Bob Boone.
Correct.
Oh, chime.
Yeah,
Larry Boa. Greg Luzinski.
Yep, the Bull.
Dave Cash.
That's exactly right. Double play combination.
And myself.
You are correct.
Those beautiful chimes, all 5 of them.
Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack.
Appreciate the easy question going into the All-Star break.
Now, of the names that you did write down also.
Carlton. I wrote down
Carlton or Maddox. Who surprises you more that he wasn't on that All-Star team?
Oh, I think Maddox was either second or third, close to first in the league batting average the previous year, 75 or maybe even going into 76. And Maddox had an unbelievable 330 batting average or something the previous year. I guess you can't have more than 5 guys on the All-Star.
It's a lot of guys. Desmond's down on strikes. Jose Lobaton's coming up. Let's check in with Murph. Murph.
All right, guys. Well, I think I can promise you that this is the last time that I'll do a hit on Cliff Lee and his work coming back to this team at the major league level. He is going to have one more rehab start tomorrow in Clearwater. They are hoping that he'll throw about 75 pitches down in Clearwater as he works his way back. And then take a look as the Phils have announced their rotation coming out of the All-Star break. A.J. Burnett, Hamels, and Kendrick will pitch the series in Atlanta. But then when they come back home versus the San Francisco Giants, Cliff Lee should get the start. That is next Monday. He should get the start. So a week from Monday and a week from that rehab start. So if all goes well in Clearwater, we'll see Cliff Lee back here at Citizens Bank Park in about a week, guys. Good news, no doubt about it.
Well, that is very good news. So we'll keep an eye on that tomorrow when he makes that rehab start. Murph, by the way, you were the one that asked the question as to when we were talking about Ryan Howard's elbow. Weren't you the one that asked the question about wasn't he successful before with that?
Yeah, and to me, it's the biggest question surrounding really any athlete that seems to be scuffling at a certain period in his career. What was he doing before that made him successful? And I thought that was very interesting. I was just watching you guys break that down on the monitor in there, and I'm sure, as Mike pointed out, Ryan has been talking to a lot of different people and looking at a lot of different pieces of video to try and figure it out. Hopefully he figures it out pretty soon, because this lineup desperately needs him and needs his production.
There's a floater out toward right center field, an 0-2 pitch to the pitcher, and Roark gets a base hit, and that ends what was a string of 14 straight retired by Kyle Kendrick. And Roark's aboard with 2 outs here in the 5th.
Reached out and poked an 0-2 breaking ball to right field.
14 in a row before that. And now Denard Span is 1 for 2. Change up, and it's 0-1.
By the way, that year you guys had the 5 players in the All-Star game. Cincinnati had 7.
Huh.
So you could see who the 2 dominant teams were, really.
A lot of red out there in that starting lineup that night. Rollins will make the catch. Span is retired. So are the Nationals. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. Middle of the 5th inning. Phillies still looking for a little offense when we return to Citizens Bank Park. Hashtag Philly fan photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT. Get a chance to enjoy the day at the ballpark. Great crowd last night, over 37,000. Nice crowd here today. A lot of folks wandering around Ashburn Alley. Tanner Roark, though, is making things look a little too easy right now. Just 2 base runners through the first 4 innings. Today's giveaway was the tumbler. We have another great giveaway coming up on Saturday, July 26th. when the Phillies take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's the W.B. Mason collectible truck, free to fans 14 and under. You can get your tickets now by going to Phillies.com.
Is that a miniature truck? Or
miniature truck.
But not like...
It's full size.
No.
They're giving away transports.
I mean like, what do you want to say?
It's like a matchbox.
Would that fit on my train table? Like, you know.
Yeah.
It's not a... matchbox.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Interesting.
W. Mason's provided those giveaways the last few years, and they've been different. Kind of cool. As Ashe takes 1 ball and no strikes. Ashe popped up his first time up. And he pulls that one down the right field line. That'll be in for a base hit. Softly toward the corner. Ashe will get to seconds. 9-game hitting streak for Cody Ashe. 14th double of the year. And the Phillies have just their second base runner in scoring position in today's game.
Nice piece of hitting. Reached out and hooked a line drive over the first baseman.
Seemed like it was a sinker low and away, and that stayed through the zone. He's out in front a little bit, but
I mean, you got to cover it. You know,
right.
You got to cover that ball if it's away from you like that. If you the slightest bit of pulling off of it with your shoulder turns into a rollover, and he went out and got it.
Cameron Rupp now the batter. He struck out his first time up in the dirt. Now she went halfway and then went back. Good play by Lobaton. And it's 1-0.
We're in a little hitting discussion here on our broadcast today. I had an interesting talk again with Matt Williams with Rick Shue, my old buddy who made me a first baseman one year here in Philadelphia. Wonderful guy, great hitting coach, and we got to talking about this thing they mentioned. I don't know whether do you guys work when it's on Fox?
Sometimes.
But last night we're watching Fox and they were talking about Rick Shue's theory called stack and jack. Have you heard that one?
I haven't heard that one.
Stack and jack. That's what he coaches. And
I thought it was Jack Daniels. Oh,
stack and jack. And then he wants hitters to stay tall in the batter's box, which I agree with 100%.
Okay.
To stay tall in your posture. Stay tall, back, and jack. I thought that was interesting. Coined the phrase stack and jack. You heard of stack and tilt, of course, in golf.
Absolutely. So he wants you to be upright, and his stack means going back more than anything.
Yeah. Stay tall. You don't go get the ball. Let it come to you. Stay tall and stack and jack. For what it's worth, that's what Rick shoots. Interesting.
I still like the grip and rip.
See it and hit it.
I think we're going to have our first little discussion of something I don't agree with. I don't like the fact that hitters are tall, because really you don't stay tall your whole at bat. You might start tall, but that back knee will bend. Am I right?
So you want a little bend in your knee.
Well, I think you have to. You have to have your back knee has to have a little bend to be able to drive a ball.
Check swing. He went, and Rupp will be thrown out on the throw to first. Strikeout, throw out. And there's one out for Ben Revere.
In a perfect scenario, fastball right down the middle, which you time up perfectly. Your front leg will post up. Your front leg will firm up at impact, and that's what makes you stay tall. If your front leg bends through impact, now sometimes it will when you have to go get the ball. You have to, sometimes you bend your front leg to be able to reach a certain ball if you're fooled.
Like Jason's home run the first inning.
Yeah, but I mean, in a perfect swing, your front leg will post up, like in golf, and it will force you to stand tall through the ball.
So you would agree with that, Matt?
Yes, I would.
If your front leg does not post up, this is for all the young hitters out there watching today's broadcast. If your front leg does not post up, your hips cannot rotate. If your front leg bends, your hips will lock. Try it at home. Simulate a swing and keep your front leg at impact firm, and your hips can spin on around to the left or to the right if you're a left-handed hitter. Bend your front leg, your hips will stop rotation.
So does that go along with your feeling of being straight up, or is that just standing straight up tall? You still want to be that before you even get to that.
Well, you basically, it's the old hit with a firm front side.
Right.
You know, that's a simpler way to put it probably, but it makes you stand tall. You don't squat through impact. Take an axe and swing it against a tree. You don't squat while you're swinging the axe into the tree. You push back with your front leg.
On the inside, quarter 1 and 2 to Revere.
Nobody should know that more than Matt Stairs. If you watch him take some BP sometime.
No, I like the firm.
He can't stand that tall in the batter's box because how tall are you?
5 foot something. Cleats or no cleats?
I'd say cleats. We're going to give you at least that.
Okay, 5'8" and a quarter.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Revere with a runner at second. And he pulls it foul. It remains 1 and 2. Kendrick on deck. So he's got to get one of these runs home. They're starting to fall into that same mode.
You guys are the manager. Do you right now have a pinch hitter ready to go if Ben Revere gets on base here? Is it too early?
I think it's too early. I thought about it when I looked down and realized Kendrick was on deck with the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. In the dirt, Lobaton again blocks it and keeps Ashe over at second.
And keep in mind, it's All-Star break.
Right.
4 days off.
Everybody should be ready.
Right.
Raring to go. Could even use a starter today.
Very important game. Very important game. Key to the game is win today's game.
Yeah, my key wasn't very good. I mean, you know what? You can look at it. Ben gets on. You know, you bunt him over and you're looking for that 2-out knock. Or
I'm not saying one way or the other.
Right.
I'm just posing the question.
Can't tell you that didn't cross my mind, honestly, when the count was 1 and 2 to Revere and thinking that the Phillies need to get a run home.
Well, by the way, Revere makes an out. Kendrick goes out to the mound, pitches the next inning, leads off the next inning. Pinch hitter.
Yes. Swing and a miss. 2 outs. All right, would you pinch hit here as a former manager?
Right here, right now.
Not an easy question, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. Especially when I got less time than I'm taking to make this decision. If I am the manager, probably not. Probably not. He's a starter. He deserves to pitch. He's throwing some goose eggs up there after the first inning, obviously.
One to Kendrick.
We have enough offense to score 3-4 runs the next couple of innings. I may need the guy later in the game that I would be pinch hitting now. And one other point probably would be, Matt probably would agree with this. I mean, we don't have a lot of guys not playing with home run power. You know, I mean, we can't really waste somebody at this point in time. You know, it would be a Cesar Hernandez probably, or you don't want to use Dominic Brown at this point in the game.
Toyota Major League Scoreboard. The Braves and the Cubs are facing off in Chicago, and the Braves lead at 3-0. Gerald Laird, 2 RBIs. Braves and the Nationals tied for first. Kendrick has struck out, so he just struck out the side after the leadoff double by Cody Ashe. So as sound as the Phillies were offensively just a few days ago, they're a little quiet here today and yesterday. With over 2.5 million votes, Chase Utley was easily the fans' pick to represent the Phillies in Minneapolis. In All-Star Game history, only Hall of Famers Ryan Sandberg and Joe Morgan have started more games at second base for the National League. Chase is respected all around baseball for the same reasons he is beloved in Philadelphia. And his 6th trip to the Midsummer Classic is brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Phillies trail at 3-0 as we go to the top of the 6th inning here at Citizens Bank Park. Can you beat the best? Join millions of players now on the official Home Run Derby mobile game from MLB.com. Square off against your friends from around the world live in multiplayer derby mode and climb to the top of the leaderboards. Download today for the free Apple app and Google Plus. Top of the 6th inning. Phillies now have been shut out 27 times through 5 innings of a ball game. 27 times. First pitch here is outside. It's 1-0. They trail at 3-0. They have only 2 hits here today. Out of play. 1-1.
Tom, that could be one of the reasons, we're sort of confused when we saw the comparison numbers from last year to this year. That could be one of the strong reasons why the difference in where we are in the standings, even though statistically the 2 teams aren't that far off.
27 times being shut out through the first 5 innings of games, and then there's been a handful of games where they have been no hit through the first 5 innings of games too, including the no hitter. 2 balls and 1 strike to Rendon. Out of play, and it's 2-2. Kendrick has only allowed 1 hit since that first inning when he allowed 3 in a row. Had a 3-run home run. Whoop.
Ouch.
That's going to hurt.
That should get a couple of hometown boos there. Ball between the coach's legs. You're better off to let those go.
Yep.
Here's a 2-hole hitter with 52 RBIs and 13 home runs.
And still probably deserving of All-Star selection. He still hasn't been named to it. According to reports, the Nationals, who lost Jordan Zimmerman to an injury the other night, he was their lone All-Star. They're going to have Tyler Clippard be added to the All-Star team. As a base hit goes into center field for Rendon. A leadoff single here in the 6th. And that'll bring Worth to the plate.
Looked like something off speed, up right out over the middle of the plate, kind of not doing much, and poked it into center field. Funny how when those balls are down, they can usually create rollover ground balls, but when they're elevated by 6-8 inches, you can do that with them.
Worth takes a strike. It's 0-1.
Discussion this morning at the cage about hitting. Jason Worth's name came up, and we were talking about smart hitters.
That's off the glove of Rupp, and up to second goes Rendon. It's a wild pitch. Second one of the game, charged to Kendrick. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
And quick to make a point. I mentioned Jason Worth. You know him personally a lot better than I do. To me, I would say he's a smart hitter. Now you're going to go, how can Jason Worth be a smart hitter? Well, he gets fooled a lot on breaking balls, but it's because he is sitting on a certain pitch, based upon the way he's been pitched in the series and in the game. and he makes adjustments on the fly during at bats as he goes along, and then all of a sudden, boom, you'll throw him a certain pitch and he'll smoke that thing somewhere. And he looked like, he looked awful on that same pitch a couple pitches earlier, or an at bat earlier. But to me, he's a hitter that's always thinking and looking for pitches, and he will give in with 2 strikes and use his long arms and poke the ball somewhere.
We joke a lot about a lot of times his butt is way out and he still gets a base hit to right field.
But at the same time, I think he was a perfect complement to the team when he was here. He wasn't the man, you know what I mean, and he was in the 5-hole or 6th hole and he could move around but he wasn't the guy that the opposition focused on, and it was a perfect role for him right now. But here now with the Nationals, he's become more of the guy.
Well, he's hit by a pitch, and that'll put runners on first and second. But I do agree with you. I think he's a smart hitter, and I don't know if he wasn't that way beforehand because of injuries sort of plagued his playing time, but something clicked here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, he was a guy, and Mikey made a great point. He wasn't the superstar of the team. You didn't have to worry about him. Well, you did have to worry about, but he wasn't the one guy you had to worry about, and everything goes around.
He was sort of a garbage man. No, you know what I mean by that. He'd pick a little up here and there, and they'd walk Ryan Howard, and Jason would come up, or you know what I mean. He wasn't. A lot of times they put it on him, but it wasn't like he was the man and was supposed to do it.
Here's Adam LaRoche with runners on first and second, and he fouls the first pitch off Rupp. Mario Holland's throwing in the pen.
And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he a 90 to 90? Didn't he have 99 one year or something like that?
Yeah.
And 2009.
He was, he had a lot of great at bats and 290 batting average. Played a great right field for us. But I always thought that if you put him in Washington and said you're going to be the 3-hole hitter and the guy making the most money, I always thought he'd have a tough time. And he's coming around. It's coming. Could be on the All-Star team this year, for that matter.
Yeah, 09, he had 36 home runs and 99 runs batted in for the Phils. No balls, 1 strike to LaRoche. And a high fly ball to right. It's playable for Bird. Rendon tags from second. And Bird's throw goes to second. And there's 1 out. Runners on first and third. Let's check in with Murph. Murph?
All right, thanks, Tom. It's time for our Coors Light Cold Hard Fact, brought to you by Frost Brews Coors Light. And it's about the Phils defense. The Phillies have not committed an error since the 5th inning on Monday at Milwaukee. They have the 2nd best fielding percentage in the National League in the month of July at .993. They've been very, very good in the month of July, guys.
Yeah, they're 3rd overall in the National League in the least amount of errors. They only have 48, I say only, but they have 48 this year. Strangely, though, they are tied for first in unearned runs allowed by the pitchers. And here's Zimmerman with runners on first and third and 2 outs. Outside, 1-0.
Matt, I think Ryan Zimmerman is one of the great productive hitters in our league. Sort of unheralded. You got to see him a lot. This guy gets a lot of big hits. And you feel like he's kind of money in this situation right here. And my question would be why? I have my answer. I was curious what yours would be.
Well, I think there's a few things. I don't think he tries to do too much. I don't think he relies on trying to hit the 3-run home run right here. He uses the big part of the field.
Exactly. He's going to stay straight away in this at bat.
And a line drive to right field. Bird has got it. Rendon's tagging from third. The throw to the plate is offline, and it's a 4-0 ball game. Well, he smoked that ball the opposite way.
Yes, he did, and that scripted it just like we were talking about. I mean, that's classic execution for a hitter with men in scoring position. Work the count, Get the pitcher to where the pitcher's going to try to get you to jump out and make an out, get yourself out early, work the count, just drive the ball to the center of the field. And there's a level swing through the zone, right, Matt? Beautiful level swing through the zone.
It was a fastball up in the zone, and his approach was to stay hard up the middle. If you get beat a little bit, you're going to do that. You're going to drive the ball to right field. Hit the ball around the nose, right at the Marlin Bird, and no chance of throwing out. Went down at home plate.
All right, so Kendrick's day is done. Mario Hollins coming on to face the lefty Bryce Harper with the Phils down 4-0. Bobble figurine free to all fans. Compliments of Toyota. Saturday, August 9th. It's the Toyota Charlie Manuel Wall of Fame night here at the ballpark. Order your tickets now for that 4-game series. It's a wraparound Friday and then Monday. Order your tickets at Phillies.com. Mario Hollins will come on for his 34th ball game. He'll face the left-hander Bryce Harper. Hollins 1-1, an ERA of 2.70. And he's coming on with a runner over at first base. So Kendrick's day is done after 5 2/3, 5 hits. And so far 4 runs. Worth is his responsibility over at first base. Harper's 0 for 2. He has struck out twice. First pitch is outside and high, 1-0. Matter, Hollins' hands higher than usual? Is his glove higher than usual when he's hiding the ball? For some reason I remember him being down at his hip.
It's like a reverse Papelbon, isn't it?
Well, Papelbons are at his hip.
Right.
No, I'm pretty sure he's at the same spot.
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just looks different to me. Outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. So Kendrick is watching as Hollins is trying to get the last out here in the 6th inning. You guys are saying during the break that's a big run right there. With the Phillies not scoring any runs, it's now a 4-0 lead.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. I don't know what it is about the 4-0 versus the 3-0. But it just seems, like, I mean, I know it's just, it seems like a big hill to climb, whereas 3 doesn't.
They sit up the middle. So Desmond will come up with runners on first and second. No right-hander warming up in the bullpen for the Phils. They'll stay with Hollins here.
ball was smoked right there by Bryce Harper. I guess they're waiting for his breakout year, right?
And his healthy year.
Yeah.
Just staying healthy. He definitely has the talent. So now Desmond is 0 for 2. He's grounded out. He's also struck out. Inside 1-0.
Well, this becomes a very big out in the game right here. Shortstop with 16 home runs and 55 ribbies.
37 RBIs with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Inside 2-0. Desmond won the Silver Slugger the last couple of years at shortstop, and he rips one out towards center field. Revere on the run, and it's over his head into the wall. 2 runs will score. This is going to be a 2-run double, and it's now a 6-0 ball game. Well, he didn't fool him at all with that pitch. In fact, these last 2 hitters weren't fooled at all.
Well, he fell behind 2-0, and wow, a hitter like Desmond, you're left-handed on right-handed hitter, and you got to challenge him. Boom.
So Kendrick's line is complete. 5 of the 6 runs charged to him, and now Lobaton fouls it away. No balls and 1 strike. Well, what was a 3-0 game is now a not so pretty ball game. 6-0 in favor of the Nationals. That one's on the hands out toward left. That's going to drop for a base hit. Oh, unfortunately, Mike, your key is sort of falling in the same spot that Matt's key fell. Trying to gain that momentum into the break. It's now a 7-0 ball game.
Well, the thing with right now with Mario Hollins is that his he's not getting ahead of guys, and he's throwing the ball down too much to the plate. And I don't know if it has something to do with his last appearance was the second versus Miami. So it's been quite a while since he's been on the mound. Last time he was on the mound, he took that line drive off the leg. So you can just see he's kind of out of rhythm on the mound and having a hard time throwing quality strikes.
Yeah, 11 days since that contusion. No balls and 1 strike to Tanner Roark. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Now DeFreitas will start to throw in the bullpen for the Phils. That ball got on him pretty quick, and it's 1-2.
What set this inning up for them was the pass ball, the second batter run, which put them in a man on second, nobody out situation, and they end up, and Ryan Zimmerman had that great at bat to pick up that, set up that 4th run, and man, that just sort of mellowed them out, the Nationals, and boom, 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 boom. Whole ball game changes.
Swing and a miss, and the side is retired, but the damage is done. 4 runs score in the inning for the Nationals. They get 2 against Kendrick, 2 against Hollins. Zimmerman started the scoring. It's now 7-0 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. On store for the ride of your life and save big today. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. By Budweiser, here's to Budweiser, here's to baseball. And by WB Mason, you can't go wrong when you buy right. Phillies trail at 7-0. 7 runs on 8 base hits. Phillies offense has only managed 2 hits against Tanner Roark, who will face Grady Sizemore, Jimmy Rollins, and Chase Utley as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Roark's 2 hits, the double to Ashe and a single to Ben Revere, and that's it. He's also hit 1 batter. He hasn't walked anybody. He struck out 5. So Grady Sizemore will lead it off. He's 0 for 2. He's popped out and lined out.
I'll tell you what's key in games is getting that big 2-out knock. It just picks the team up. And we saw it in Milwaukee where we scored all those runs with 2 out. And Harper, Desmond, and Lobaton, he came up. They all get single, double, single. It seems like everything, the energy gets picked up, especially after that first knock.
I think the point you guys were making about how Zimmerman's sac fly kind of relaxed the Nationals a little bit. It did seem like it did. You know, they got that 4th run. They're thinking, all right, well, we got a pretty good cushion. Let's just see if we can go hacking here. Oh, no balls and 1 strike to Sizemore. 1 ball and 1 strike. Is this a better team than the Braves, these Nationals? I mean, they're tied right now. The Braves are leading the Cubs 7-0. Matt Williams' team is leading the Phils here 7-0. To me, they're a better team than the Braves are.
I think they have a deeper team, like a power-wise, average-wise, better bench. But the Braves find a way to do it.
Maybe the Braves bullpen's a little better. I don't know. I don't know if that has a lot to do with it or not.
Nationals are what, 3rd in the league?
That's true. See what the Nationals have done against the East. Now the Braves have played more games against the East than the Nationals. They're 25-17. That one's pulled out toward right. A base hit for Sizemore. A leadoff single here in the 6th inning. Jimmy Rollins is coming up. He is the Phil's all-time hits leader. Big Time Bats is releasing this full-size bat that is limited in cells for $109.95. Call now at 1-866-280-BATS or log on to BigTimeBats.com.
I think that this is a better team than Nationals. I mean, Matt and I were just looking at a name here, Gio Gonzalez. One of the great left-hand pitchers in the league. They don't even have him. Of course, we don't know the extent of Zimmerman's injury, I guess, at this point.
Right.
Strasburg, Zimmerman, Gio Gonzalez. That's pretty formidable top 3 right there. Am I leaving somebody out?
Pfister.
Doug Pfister. Yeah.
Right. The Braves can't, with their injuries, can't put starting pitching
not the same
staff like that out there. Go around this field right here, right now, and look at this infield. Where is there a better infield in baseball, man for man?
Yeah, the way it's set up right now.
You look at the outfield. Jason Worth could play right field for anybody. Span, okay. And Bryce Harper, if he gets hot, could be player of the month, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're still waiting on. I'm sure they're still waiting on that as Jimmy squares up with his top hand and the line drive to right. We got a little 2-man on thing going here. So, guys on the field, and Ramos is a fantastic catcher. not catching today. I like the Nationals.
Yeah, I guess I wonder why they've been sort of jockeying for position this whole first half. Maybe it's not that. Maybe they're not that much better, but it is surprising that they've been struggling to keep themselves in first place or even near the Braves.
Well, it all comes down to how the Braves and Nats play head to head. And if Braves seem like they can win games, then they're not going to run away with it.
Well,
you're always gaining the game back.
That's it. Up until the last 2 games that they faced each other, the Braves had handled the Nationals. That is very true. Utley takes a curveball, and it's 0-1. Utley's 0 for 2.
That's why we talk about, Mike talked about this is a huge game going into the break, trying to win the series, and then all of a sudden, second half, you're starting up against the Atlanta Braves.
Little dribbler in front of the plate. Roark off the mound. And he just gets Utley. The runners move up to second and third. Utley was trying to get an angle where he could sort of block the path of that throw, but he just couldn't get to that angle without getting out of the base path.
Well, Chase wanted more than that, no question, but in a close ball game, I mean, that's what you would call a productive out.
Almost kind of looked like Ian Desmond the way he ran to second base last night. That ground ball to Ryan Howard. He took off inside the grass and
he actually got caught way out on his front foot when he topped that ball in front of home plate.
Phillies today are 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
Well, we got the Ryan Howard close-up side view.
That ball's pulled toward first. A run will score. It'll be a ground out by Howard. It's a 7-1 ball game.
They hit the ball hard. The Nationals will take an out or a run for sure with a 7-run lead.
Well, now Marlon Byrd with 2 outs. He's 0 for 1. He was hit by a pitch. His last time, or first time up, then struck out his last time.
I guarantee you Marlon wants a piece of this guy right here. You know what I'm saying? 7-1 lead. The guy drills you right in the left arm. The first pitch he throws you at the game. A little payback here.
From a breaking ball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Thing about role players too, when you start comparing the 2 teams. I mean, our old friend Kevin Franson in the dugout for the Nationals, Danny Espinosa, great defensive infielder
And a switch hitter.
Can pop the ball. Nate McLouth, Scott Hairston. We're talking about pretty good crew of guys role playing for this Nationals team as well.
Well, the Phillies get a run here in the 6th inning. We'll go to the 7th. Nationals game 3 of the series lead at 7-1. this guy you just saw, as we take a look at our local Honda dealers game summary, is one of the big reasons why the Phillies trail this one. Tanner Roark, 6 strikeouts, 4 hits, 1 earned run over 6 innings of work. The only run for the Phillies, a Ryan Howard RBI ground out. Kyle Kendrick, meanwhile, allows 5 earned runs in 5 2/3, including Jason Wirtz's 3-run home run in the first inning. That was his 12th of the year. Top of the order is due up against Mario Hollins. Denard Span will lead it off. He takes a strike. It's 0-1. Kyle now with those three runs that he allowed in the first inning has allowed 24 earned runs in the first innings of games this year. Grounded is short, backhanded by Rollins. One away.
You know, that gets on your mind, like, you know, certain
right?
things with hitters. I mean, how do I get through today's game without giving up some runs in the first inning? Matt, you're the pitching expert in this broadcast crew. But you'd think there had to be an antidote for that that at some point over the first couple months could have been found. I mean, I know they're probably searching for ways, but
They're almost starting the game pitching out of the stretch. Try something different.
Pitch a simulated game in the bullpen, 1 inning.
I think he tried one of those up downs a few starts ago, didn't he? Where he pitched, sat down as if he was replicating the first couple of innings of a game. But you just saw his reaction when he allowed that home run. It was a look of exasperation.
It has nothing to do with mentally prepared. He is mentally prepared, physically prepared. He's just not making quality pitches in the first inning. And I don't know if maybe he's thinking about it too much.
I would think he has to be thinking about it at this point.
You step in the batter's box and you have a fastball right down the middle of the plate, and you foul it off over and over and over. And we'll go back to with Ryan Howard. You don't think he's not thinking about hitting right now?
There's a fly ball to right, playable for Bird, and there are 2 outs. Every time the Phillies pitchers retired the opposition 1-2-3, which Kendrick did do in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th innings today. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Well, it got us to researching the most first inning runs allowed by a pitcher in a season. And Elias, who's our official statistician, goes back to 2000 with this one. Mark Burley in 06 allowed 41 first inning runs. That's for a full season. So Kyle now is at 24 earned runs and 26 overall.
You see, it was 46 earned runs or
41.
41 earned runs.
Yeah. Kevin Millwood allowed 39 in 2010 for the Orioles. Jeremy Bonderman and Paul Wilson allowed 39 in 07 and 2003. That just sounds like a lot. 41 runs in the first inning of games for a season. 3-1 to Worth. There's ball 4, a 2-out walk, second or third time that Worth has been on board today. These lucky fans are today's Citizen 7. They were to receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Good banking is simple, clear, and personal, and that's helping you bank. Citizens Bank, good banking is good citizenship.
For the life of me, I can't understand why Jason Worth would take a fastball 2-0 right down the middle from a left-handed pitcher.
He does take a lot of pitches, but
No, 2-0 fastball from the lefty.
Yeah.
With 2 outs,
Yeah.
7 to run lead, and a left-hander hitting behind you. He got just what I guess maybe he wanted. He's a smart hitter, remember?
Maybe he knew he was going to pop it up, so he was going to walk instead.
A walk.
Well, now LaRoche is behind. No balls and 2 strikes.
That was actually the problem that the Cincinnati Reds were having with Joey Votto. Scoring position, runners in scoring position, and he wasn't being aggressive enough, and he was walking too much. Never ever thought I'd hear your best hitters walking too much, which I understand. Were you taking 2-0?
Well, I would have swung at that pitch. I can tell you that. I mean, that's like putting a. It used to be a quarter. Now I think it's a little bit more. But in the pitching machine at the local driving range where they have some batting machines, you know. Seeing how far you can hit those rubber-coated baseballs back in the day. That's what I'd have done with that 2-0 fastball.
No runs, no hits, and one man left. It's time to stretch here in Philadelphia. The Nationals lead the Phils 7-1. This one's 7-1. Only 4 hits this afternoon. Part of the reason why Amy was talking about our conversation with Ben after the game about some changes. Time now for our AT&T fan photo of the game. This one comes from J Harp 02. And it's a Phillies fan. Snuggling up against the Fanatic. Tweet your photo to hashtag Philly fan photo for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Well, bottom of the 7th inning, and Tanner Roark is still out on the mound for the Nationals. They'll face Cody Ashley, Cameron Rupp, and Ben Revere. Rafael Soriano, the closer, is heading out toward the bullpen right now. Sometimes closers wait a little bit before they head out. Well, he's waiting until the 7th before he saunters out, and he doesn't do anything that quickly.
He is sauntering. He's when he's on the mound, he's walking out, when he's warming up. The quickest thing he does is after he gets a save, he pulls that jersey out.
It's almost as if we've interrupted his catnap for the day.
I hope they need him today.
That'd be a great thing.
See, I hope they don't. That means that we came back and we took the lead.
Oh, well, that is beyond optimism right there, Matt.
Always positive thinking, guys.
There's Cody Ashley. It'll be Ashley, Rupp, and Revere. Those are the scheduled hitters for the Phils here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Ashley's 1 for 2. He doubled his last time up. And popped up his first time. He's hit in 9 straight. Jason Worth is pretty shallow out in right field. And he pops it up. Third base side. And Ryan Zimmerman puts it away. 1 out. Get all your Philly sports news and scores when you're on the go. Be the first to know breaking news on all your Philly teams right from your smartphone. Download the free CSN Philly Sports app today.
Well, from my perspective, popping up the first pitch with a 7-1 deficit in a game doesn't.
That's an all-star break swing.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
You might pop up strike one pitch, not the first pitch.
Runner-up takes inside corner. It's 0-1. Do you guys recall anything that you would do during an all-star break if you weren't going well? Is there anything that you would do?
1975, my first. Well, I would say I didn't make it all-star team in '73 either, when I kind of really stunk the whole year. But '75, when I was a little bit of an established player, didn't make the all-star team. I went to Seaview down in not Ebsecan, it's now a Marriott, or it was a Marriott.
I know,
very prestigious golf
the
course
ShopRite Classic
down there, right? And my wife and I were playing tennis, and I had my first run-in with the green fly.
Oh yeah.
I will never forget the first time I ever had it.
Play golf there on one of the. There's two courses, but there's one of them where.
Oh, it's a beautiful place.
Place.
It's just that I remember is trying to play tennis one day and down in New Jersey in the middle of the hot summer, dealing with those green flies, and that doesn't do a lot for tourism. And
no, but it is a beautiful course. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Rupp. Ground ball toward third, backhanded by Zimmerman.
Look at this.
He's out at first base as LaRoche comes back and puts his foot on the bag. That could be the worst throw I think I've ever seen him make. And he struggled with his throws. That could be one of the worst throws I've seen him make.
Well, I got to tell you, I feel his pain. After I had shoulder surgery, I dreaded going to my left to catch a ball and having to throw it all the way across the infield, which is what he looked like right there, Matt. He said, "Oh my God, I gotta reach up top here and throw it all the way to first base." Not bad when you're in the infield grass or something,
right,
making a play, but that one right there.
I actually think he tried to make a one-hop throw on purpose.
He did.
Yeah,
No doubt about that. But
that's the first
awkward release.
Yeah. That's the first ground ball I think this series that he's had.
Yeah, where he's that deep where he's had to make that play.
Right.
I don't recall whether he's had anything in front of him or not.
I think that's the first ball. He's the first 5 overall. That's when it comes back to when we were talking earlier in the game. Take advantage of a guy that has a sore shoulder and lay a bunt down.
Oh. Cody was leading off the inning. He's playing way back, and just to have it in your arsenal, you could grab a base hit anytime you want it. Wouldn't even be a bad. Well, he's got 2 strikes on him now, but I'm sure he wasn't even playing Rivera up with 2 outs.
Rivera takes a strike at the knees. It's 1-2.
Well, it wasn't 2 strikes. My bad. I was looking at the out sign up there with the 2. But again, why not? It's just a base hit. All you need is base runners, right?
Down and in, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Roark at 102 pitches.
I'll never forget Pete Rose dropping a bunt on me. I was like, his 43, his hit consecutive games was like 44, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Many years ago. He got his 43rd off of me. When I dared him to drop a bunt, I was playing back. He dropped it, and I tried to barehand it and dropped it. And he gets 0 for 3 in the game, and his hitting streak continued.
And then it was up to Gene Garver to stop it when he was playing against the Atlanta Braves. We'll go to the 8th inning here in Philadelphia. The Nationals 7 and the Phillies 1. you by Toyota. Where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. By McDonald's. Any size hot or iced coffee is just $1. McDonald's. I'm loving it. And by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. Tony Gwynn Jr. is into the ball game to play center field for the Phillies. And Justin DeFreitas is the new pitcher. Tony's stretching his legs out. He was going to pick up a loose ball in right center field, and then Cameron Rupp's throw from behind home plate went over the head of Chase Utley, so he's tracking down a ball in center field.
Gwynn fires to the stands to send a souvenir in. Breaks the hand of an usher.
Yeah.
Ball drops by the golf sign. Runs to pick it up. Now flicks it up to the young man who drops it. Now he's running up the stairs. It's kind of a chaotic beginning to this.
He went from gap to gap.
So you fathers of those T-ball players out there watching the game today, it can be that way in the major leagues.
Yeah. Ryan Zimmerman will lead it off against Justin DeFreitas. Zimmerman's 0 for 2, and he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Nationals scored 3 in the first and 4 in the sixth. That ball's hit well. Deep to left center field. Wynn's going out, and that little guy is going to have another chance. Ball was caught about a row in front of where we were that day broadcasting. Ryan Zimmerman's solo home run is 4th of the year. 8-1.
Wow.
Boy, he really crushed that one. Nice catch by this young kid out here, too.
Just another thing we talked about. Cameron won the fastball away, and it came in our half, and I had my head down, putting down DeFreitas' name, and I heard it, and I said, that doesn't sound very good.
No, it didn't sound good at all. Well, now Bryce Harper, who singled his last time up, he's 1 for 3. 0-1.
It's amazing how it all counts in baseball. Sometimes, you know, these at-bats right here, these one-inning pitching performances by DeFreitas, you know, I mean, you can find something to make you better. You can do something if you're not really into it, like you would be in a close ball game, to make you worse. You know what I mean? To set you back. A hitter can have a really tough at-bat in a game that's out of hand and turn into a tear. You may find something. You may do something. That's why you can never. I always think of Pete Rose again. That guy wanted to hit every time he went to the plate. It did not matter. It was all about him against the pitcher.
Was his competitiveness? I mean, you probably knew that coming in, but did that shock you even more when he played with you?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I mean, it's just some kind of edge he always had. He was like a bully at home plate. I heard that the manager for the Pittsburgh Pirates,
Clint
Hurdle made that statement a while back. I heard that, and so was now become a bully at home plate. That's what you need. A team full of bullies.
Got a little swagger to it. Yeah.
Remember when the Toronto came in here? Did they look like a team full of bullies at home plate?
They did at that point. They're all hurt now, but they did at that point.
Yeah, I think if I can look back on my career, and when people ask me, what would you change? I think it's the amount of at-bats that I gave away early in my career because of the score, because of when it was, before All-Star break, before the end of the season. And it wasn't a lot of bats, but you'll see guys like Pete Rose. He never gave if he got 10,000 at bats, his head was into it. My worst thing was hitting a home run my first at bat. I was guaranteed to go 1 for 4.
Swing and a miss, 1 out here in the 8th inning.
But see, Ryan Zimmerman, all due respect, I'll bet you if this game was 0-0, he would not have seen 2 fastballs in a row. Right?
Yeah, he probably would have seen sliders.
Well, I mean, the edge. There would have been an edge to in the pitcher's approach to him. That was, I can't let this guy. I'm going to pitch this guy tough as I can pitch him. 7-1 lead. You're coming in. All-Star break tomorrow. Again, I'm basing that opinion on what happened in the game. Don't get me wrong, but
no, you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, you take the approach that it's a 0-0 game no matter what.
That counts on his ERA, right?
Yep.
0-1 to Desmond, who doubled his last time up. Back-to-back sliders, and he fouls this one back. It's 0-2. He went, and there are 2 outs. 3 straight sliders to Desmond. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. It's time for the Major League Notebook. Murph?
All right, thanks, Tom. Brought to you by Gwynedd Mercer University. And the Braves announced before the game with the Cubs today that Dan Uggla had been suspended for 1 game, today's game. Manager Freddie Gonzalez refused to give a reason for the suspension, said it was an internal matter, but he did say that he expected Uggla to be back with the team when the All-Star break was all finished. And I don't know if you guys saw the video last night of Colin Cowgill of the Angels, the outfielder who squared around the bunt and took one off of the face. Well, he was obviously left last night's game and fractured both a bone in his face and in his thumb, because the ball actually hit his thumb first, and he has been placed on the 15-day disabled list. They are hopeful that he'll be able to come back after the 15 days, but both require minor surgery to fix up a pretty bloody injury last night in the Angels game, guys.
Yeah, I think just from watching the video, folks almost forgot about the thumb because they were so concerned about the face. It's almost like Jay Happ last year getting hit by the line drive with Tampa, and he hurt his knee. And that caused him even more problems than getting hit with that line drive. Series finale between the Phils and the Nationals. Only on Pure Auto Insurance presents Phillies post-game live. Last of the 8th inning, Phillies down 8-1. 8 runs on 9 hits for the Nationals. John Mayberry is going to pinch hit for the Phils as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning against left-hander Ross Detweiler. 25 ball games for Detweiler, 1-2 with a 3.89 ERA. Justin DeFreitas allowed the home run in the top of the 8th inning. Looks like he's going to pitch the 9th. Well, the best form of defense today has been good pitching by Tanner Roark. These are Hyundai defensive plays of the game. Matt, it's all about pitching.
Well, it is. And his last 2 innings, he came in and he was up in the zone. But today, he was down the zone. He had good control of all of his pitches, changeup, fastball, his curveball, had our hitters off balance the whole time. And when you need to get the strikeouts, he was getting the strikeouts. So it was a good bounce back for him. And that is why he's the Hyundai defensive play of the game.
Well, he's done after 7 today, and now it's John Mayberry to pitch hit for the Phils against Ross Detweiler. Detweiler was a nasty starting pitcher for the Nationals. This year, basically a guy out of the bullpen. It was mostly against the Phillies that he was so nasty.
Well, one thing you're going to see from Detweiler is a lot of fastballs. He came in a game, I think it was an extra inning game in Chicago. Pitched 4 innings through 48 pitches, 48 fastballs.
Really? But his fastball moves so much, though, too.
It does. And he has that kind of crossfire 95, 96, 97 mile-an-hour fastball. Firm believer you throw a fastball until you get hurt, and then you make the adjustment.
Inside 2-1 to Mayberry. Grady Sizemore on deck. Ryan Zimmerman over by the third base bag. And there's one away. And Grady Sizemore is coming up. 1 for 3, 3 for 11 now with the Phils. Five outs to go as Ryan Sandberg's first half of his full-time managerial career is coming to a close. 1 ball and no strikes to Sizemore. Managers and coaches, do they have meetings with players before the All-Star break? Do they sit down with them beforehand and chat with them? Or they just...
No. They don't. They I mean, they might throughout the season. You might sit down and have a little chat with somebody, but
one ball and 1 strike. The ball's grounded foul. And it's 1-2 to Grady Sizemore.
I kind of find it interesting that they are actually getting the whole 4 days off.
That there's nothing going on.
Like, you would think they might have a workout Thursday night.
Flying down late on Thursday. Another ground ball foul. Did you ever work out on day 3 before?
You know, actually, I think it was just a matter of when I was here in 2009 was the first time I ever had 4 days off.
Right.
So 3 days, yeah, we'd go in and have a workout the night before.
Really?
Yep. We'd have the Monday, Tuesday off. Of course, the All-Star wouldn't have to work out.
Swing and a miss. Sizemore struck out. Another 2 away here in the 8th.
Usually what we did is, well, I should say what we did. I did. It was what the ownership or whoever was in charge of whatever team I was with at the time, the All-Star would usually get the first day off back. So he played in the All-Star game. He did all the traveling. He played in the All-Star game. He did all that stuff. Friday night, he usually didn't play, which was good for the backup because he knew he was playing that first game back after the All-Star break.
Did you ever sit the day after an All-Star break, Mike? That you remember?
Sit?
Yeah. Did you ever get a day off like Matt's saying?
You mean on a Thursday?
Well, if you, on the first day back of the second half after being an All-Star, did you ever get the day off or did you always play?
I never got a day off. You talking about not in the lineup?
Yeah.
That kind of thing?
Yeah.
Benched.
So that I would have 4 days as opposed to 3?
Matt's teammates got a day off as an All-Star.
Wow.
They did. Sometimes they did.
I mean, if you're hurt, if you got an issue, but no, not just. I need one more day of rest.
Out towards center field. Span makes the catch. The side is retired in order. Phillies go down quietly in their half of the 8th inning. To the 9th we go. The Nationals on top 8-1.
That's flyouts. That doesn't include.
Well, Phillies Fitness is presented by NovaCare Rehabilitation. Summer camps, you can enroll your campers today. Receive fitness tip booklets, posters, and the chance for a fitness visit. School version of the program is available beginning in late August. To learn more, go to Phillies.com/fitness. Nate McLouth will pitch hit for Ross Detweiler here in the top of the 9th inning. Phillies have 2 relievers warming up in the bullpen. Roberto Hernandez is one. Jeff Manship is the other. And McLeod swings at the first pitch. Mayberry, who came on to play center field, makes the catch. One away.
Many years ago, I chaired a committee for Bud Selig to study the All-Star game. And it came out of a meeting that we had in New York when the All-Star game was in New York, the 2000, just trying to think, where a lot of us stood out on the field. I guess it seemed like there were a couple Hall of Famers Stadium? At each position at Yankee Stadium. Yeah. Well, there was a meeting, and I chaired a committee with Dave Winfield and Willie Mays and Phil Niekro, because Mr. Selig had kind of an issue going with the players. It was shortly after they made the ruling that the All-Star game would determine who has home field advantage in the World Series. He asked us to do a study of the All-Star game and bring back to him what we thought would be some good changes to get the current players more interested in playing in the All-Star game, to get them back to that old-time feeling that we used to have where Willie Mays played 24 years, and he used to play the whole game when he played, and the National League was dominating the American League, and it was really seemed more important to the players then than it did now. I'm not saying that is the case, but that's the way it seemed to the commissioner, and we studied it, and one of the things we came back with was the game should be played on Wednesday
instead of Tuesday.
Yeah, instead of Tuesday. The home run derby, which everybody loves, especially as people that sponsor it on national TV. We thought that should be cleaned up a little bit, that players should be forced to wear uniforms and the kids shouldn't be on the field. And
that hasn't changed.
I know.
Kids are still out there.
I think it's dangerous, actually. Somebody mentioned last night that with Giancarlo Stanton hitting, I wouldn't have any kids under 16 on that outfield.
That's actually a good point.
FP Santangelo mentioned that last night.
But it was an interesting study.
That one's right past Rollins, and Span is aboard with his second hit of the day. Was there anything that you guys recommended that did change?
Well, there was talk about a purse for the game for the winning team, getting a small stipend for winning the game, putting specific prizes, rings, watches, just something to get. They wanted players to stay there the whole game, as opposed to running to the airport and getting on a jet and leaving early.
Well, I remember when Charlie Manuel was the manager one year. I mean, he was manager 2 different years, but the one year in Anaheim, there were a couple players that did leave after they were done. Span will go to second on a wild pitch, and I think there was a point where he may have needed one of them later on.
Now, when you said purse, like, I don't know, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, for the wives.
I don't know. It was something like a check to their favorite charity to the team, to the winning team players, and you had to be there at the end of the game to get your check. Well, it was fun doing the research. I think players take it serious. I mean, I really do. We tend sometimes to have an opinion about today's players. It isn't true. But the football All-Star game, the Pro Bowl, really, I think, has declined over years. Now, the basketball All-Star game, I think, has risen over the years.
And become a show almost. Yeah.
An offensive show.
Right.
Definitely an offensive show, but even everything around it, I think, has become a show. The introductions, all that kind of stuff.
Well, and I'm not going to go without a broadcast about mentioning hockey, but even the NHL hockey, there's no body checks. I think the last body check that was ever thrown was Eric Lindros, who destroyed someone coming across the blue line. And it's just it's more of an entertaining now.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Rendon. And Rendon slams one deep to center field. Mayberry on the run, gliding out. It's off the wall. He played it well. A run will score, and Rendon will pull into second with an RBI double. 9-1 Washington. Well, he certainly isn't giving away any at-bats.
No, he's not giving any bats away, and really he got a slider that didn't slide, just stayed in the middle of the plate, and he's been swinging the bat well today and drove it off the left center field wall.
That's the tough thing about baseball. You can't run out the clock. You got to get them out.
Yep.
And these guys, these guys want hits. If you go to home plate, you got to want to knock.
Worth started the scoring. That was with a 3-run home run in the first. Worth has scored 2 today. Rendon has scored 2. Span has scored 2. Top of the order's provided some damage. Line drive base hit to left field. Rendon's going to be waved home casually. RBI single for Worth. 10-1 Washington. I think Rendon was thinking about stopping at third, but Bob Henley, the third base coach, was waving him home. And Sandberg's going to come out. That's going to be it for Justin DeFreitas.
Well, I don't know much about pitching, but I thought that DeFreitas had reasserted himself as a quality reliever.
Absolutely
in
did.
the middle of the bullpen. It's amazing the damage one little outing like this can do. I hope it doesn't do too much.
Well, 3 runs charged to his line. He's responsible for the runner over at first. this weekend series against Washington. They trail at 10-1. Kevin Franzen's on to run for Jason Worth over at first. And Jeff Manship is the new pitcher for the Phils. Manship making his first appearance here in the big league since the 31st of May. 17th ball game overall. He's 1-1. An earned run average of 5.89. Well, Worth finishes today with 2 hits and 3 official at-bats, 2 walks. He was on base 4 times. He scored a couple runs. He's still a very good player, Jason Worth. And now LaRoche will bat with 1 man down. He's 0 for 4. Outside, 1 ball and no strikes.
I find very interesting. It's 10-1, and the Phillies pitchers have only walked 1 hitter the whole day.
That was the walk by Hollins. Yeah, you're right.
1 hit by batsman, but
there's 1 and there's 2. So a double play, 1 pitch, or 2 pitches, I should say, ends the 9th inning. 2 runs do score. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Last chance for the Phils. They trail at 10-1 to the Nets. They have a couple other changes too. As we go over to around the diamond at third base, Kevin Franzen will stay in the ball game. There's Franzen. Moving from third base over to first base is Ryan Zimmerman. And the new pitcher is right-hander Aaron Barrett. 35th game for Barrett. 35 strikeouts in 29 2/3. And he'll take over for Ross Detweiler. Detweiler pitched a scoreless 8th inning. So Barrett will face, it looks like Cesar Hernandez. It'll be Hernandez, Howard, and Marlon Byrd. Those are going to be the hitters, with Utley being lifted from this ball game. Phillies will take the 4 days off, then they'll go to Atlanta next weekend. That, Mike, we won't see you till the Diamondbacks series that following Sunday.
Yeah, I need to. Things need to change a little bit. I might got a little losing streak going here on Sundays with Schmidt. After starting off 3-0.
3-0. Everything was looking optimistic at that point.
Yes, it was. I didn't think we were ever going to lose a game on Sunday at home.
And then the no-hitter happened. Was that it? Was that the first loss? Might have been the second loss.
I think it was the second.
And then that loss happened, and then the no-hitter.
Well, you'll have Jamie, I believe, until the last Sunday of the year.
Really?
I'm going to miss you.
You're going to miss it. You're going to miss hitting.
Jamie fancies himself a hitter of some sorts. Of a golf ball.
Golf ball.
Well, here's Cesar Hernandez. 4 hits as a pinch hitter. He'll lead it off here in the bottom of the 9th inning. It's a 10-1 ball game. First pitch is low. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Phillies won 5 straight. They lost yesterday in extra innings, and today they've just sputtered through these first 8 innings. 2-0.
Still say if that umpire last night would have called that 0-2 pitch on Jason Worth a strike, everything would be different.
May have been a 2 out of 3 series. Well, I mean, watching that game last night, he was hearing it from both sides. There's a strike. It's 3-1. What would you say was the smallest strike zone? One of the smallest strike zones you see.
And the pitchers, Cole and Strasburg, unbelievably well with a strike zone the size of your laptop.
Ground ball over to third. Franz into a knee. That one-hop throw off the glove of Zimmerman. And Hernandez will be safe on. Well, that could go either way. I mean, it was definitely a playable ball, but he really hustled up the line to put pressure on him. It's going to be an E5, and that's the right score. Whoa.
Yeah, that's one of those.
He really spiked
sort of in between hops. It's very hard to pick as a first baseman. Of course, Ryan Zimmerman's over there now. It's just a good old-fashioned error right there.
Yep. So at E5, and that'll bring Howard to the plate. Up high, 1-0.
That might be the first time I've ever seen Ryan Howard track a ball all the way into the catcher's mitt.
Like that?
Just twice.
You know why he's doing it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because he's taking.
Well, okay. I like it.
You don't think he's hitting, do you? On those 2 pitches? I mean,
no.
He may be on this pitch.
Ground ball foul, and it's 2-1. So if he was in mind to
in take mode,
yeah, he was in take mode. So that means he was watching it the whole way.
Yeah.
And Ryan may very well be trying to get something positive out of this at bat, but you know.
Two and two as he fouls that one back. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Mets have swept out the Marlins 9-1. That means with that victory, the Mets have caught the Marlins for third place. Marlins are now 7.5 games back. In the dirt, gets away from Lobaton. Hernandez up to second. Wild pitch. Chase Utley will be heading off to Minnesota. Not at all pleased.
He's going to say with joy on his face.
Not at all pleased.
No.
Do we know the National League starting lineup yet?
We do not.
What's your guys' guess? Where will Chase hit in that lineup?
That's a good question.
Maybe 2?
I was thinking 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've got some pop in that lineup. Check swing, ball 4. That'll put runners on first and second. Marlon Byrd will be coming up. I would think Gomez will lead it off. The Brewers center fielder.
Speaking of that,
yeah.
Did you guys see the replay of him trying to break that bat over his knee?
I did, and I wondered if he was going to be hurt and wouldn't be able to play in the game.
Yeah, can you imagine the bruises on that guy's thighs?
3 times he had to break it.
I was cracking up watching that because you know what a lovable guy he is.
Yeah. Well, when he did it the first time, I think, all right. Then they showed it again. I'm thinking, all right, well, he broke it on the second or third attempt. No, he didn't break it on the second or third attempt. 0-1 to Marlon Byrd.
That's got to be a classic blooper from this year. Whack, whack, whack. I thought these bats would break.
One ball and one strike. That makes Bo Jackson breaking it over his helmet even more impressive that he was able to do that.
I mean, that was quite a tirade. You got it.
It sure was.
But how don't you laugh afterwards? After
No, he slammed the helmet down.
And the bat. After the third time, you just go, you know what? Well, okay.
That's how bad it's gone. I can't even break my bat when I'm trying to.
Because it was the bat's fault that he struck out.
Well, they're finally
probably broke
winning.
the helmet too.
Oh yeah, they're finally winning today. They're winning 9-1 over the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals have caught them in the Central by winning the first two games of that series. But the Brewers will go into the break on top if they hang on. As Byrd swings over that pitch, it's 2-2. There's one away as Byrd is struck out for the third time today. Cody Ashley's coming up. Ashley's 1 for 3. He's popped out twice and he's doubled. Average at 250. This team will look different on Friday if there's going to be any potential changes. We know Cliff Lee is coming back next Monday, and we'll start that game against the Giants.
He should be back Monday.
Carlos is going to start playing some games. Ball's pulled foul down the right field line.
And Carlos went to Clearwater today.
Correct. We know the rotation's set for the weekend.
I got to tell you, I'm not going to try to barehand that ball.
The one that he just hit?
Yeah.
No way.
Guy reaches up with two bare hands, tries to catch that ball.
Out toward left center field. Oh, drop hit for a base hit. It's going to roll into the alleyway. A run is in. Howard goes to third. RBI double for Ashe. His second double of the day. It's a 10-2 ball game.
See, that's why Bryce Harper catches those singles. Because he's playing so shallow. There's a ball there that might have been catchable. With Harper playing so, look, he's actually got a ball that didn't even reach the outfield wall, and he's got to run toward the outfield wall. See how shallow he's playing?
Oh, yeah. Ball actually took off once it hit the grass. Steve McCaddy's out to talk to Barrett. I can't imagine they want to get anybody else up at this point.
You wouldn't hope at that 10-2 lead.
No.
Barrett throwing 96, 97 mile an hour fastball.
Well, the Phillies wrap up their first half home schedule today. 19-28 here at home. And you take a look at the record at home since 2007. It's always been good, except for 2012 when they were 17-27. Then they made up for lost time in the second half there. But they're 19-28 right now. A loss here today, they'd be 19-29 at Citizens Bank Park.
Even in 2008, 2009. I mean, 2009 we had a losing record at the All-Star break at home by one game.
And picked it up in the second half. They're really going to have to pick it up in the second half this year. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike.
I wonder if opposing teams, if a ballpark that plays small like our park does, if you lose that sense of home field advantage. I mean, you know what I mean? It's a park that the opposing teams love to come in. It's like we used to go to Wrigley Field. Oh my gosh, what a great trip that was to go play the Cubs. And you know, because you got into that small ballpark and some fly balls became home runs, and you weren't used to that. And what a neat thing that was.
Well, I think as the power of the Phillies has diminished over the last 2 or 3 years, because it has diminished. You know, that's sort of opened it back up again for the opposition. Ground ball right side. They'll get a run home. And as Rupp will be thrown out. Howard crosses the plate. 10-3. RBI and a ground out. Over to third goes Cody Ashen.
Let's just say when I was a visiting player coming in and I knew we were going to Philadelphia, that was one area where I circled on the calendar because I could not wait to come hit in this ballpark. Because I step in that batter's box and I know, well, I was hoping I would know that I can miss hit a ball and almost everywhere in this ballpark is going to go out the ballpark.
But even back then, the Phillies had enough pop where they can overcome some of that.
Right.
And even the pitching was, think about that starting 5.
Well, enough pop and Roy Halladay and
correct
company.
Well, I mean, and you look at it when I was with the Blue Jays, we came in here, and Jason Worth hit home run to left, home run to center, and home run off the AT&T sign
absolutely
in right field. And we scored some runs, but that was the type of team they were built around. One swing of the bat was going to be a 2 or 3 run home run.
There's a pop up over toward the third base line. Franz it into foul territory, and that will do it. The first half of the 2014 baseball season comes to a close with the Nationals defeating the Phillies 10-3. Both teams will head into the All-Star break. One optimistic that they can hold on to the top spot in the National League East, and the other trying to figure out a way to get out of the basement of the National League East. Our Chevrolet player of the game is Tanner Roark, who went 7 innings today, allowed just 1 run, struck out 6, on the heels of back-to-back outings in which he allowed 4 earned runs. He hadn't pitched since the 4th of July, and he certainly looks sharp here this afternoon against the Phillies. And our W.B. Mason delivery of the game really just to point back to the first inning. Kyle Kendricks had trouble in the first, and Jason Worth made him pay.
Yeah, he did. He got a low curveball after Span and Rendon had back-to-back singles. Jason Worth comes up and gets a curveball, gets out in front of it, but he barrels it up and drives it out of the left field wall for a 3-run shot, and that is your delivery of the game, brought to you by W.B. Mason.
So the Nationals win at 10-3 over the Phils. We'll be back to wrap it up from Citizens Bank Park right after this.